Hi, I'm Michelle Carolla, back with John Schneider, the Living in Midwest Life team. We are talking about something super important today, the 4 benefits of owning real estate. And John is here to explain those to us. John?
Thanks, Michelle. Well, I'll tell you what, most people don't fully understand why real estate is such a fantastic investment. And mostly because it's more complicated than just I earn an income off of it. So there are really 4 key benefits. So we'll go through those.
Okay.
The first one is your income benefit, and that's the obvious one. That's how much cash do I generate from a real estate investment when I buy it. And we're looking at this as a rental property, but this could be a purchase where you buy and sell it to, and that's how much cash would you generate. But as we look at a rental property, we're going to look at how much cash does it generate. That's the number 1 benefit. Then there's going to be a debt service benefit, and that's going to be the benefit that you get every month when you pay that mortgage with somebody else's money. And so every month the debt service principal balance goes down, so you get a debt service benefit. From there, this is actually the one that I think really helps people out, is the tax benefit that you get from a property. So if you have a tax benefit, sometimes you'll be making cash off of a property, yet the depreciation that you get from the property is actually more than the cash that you receive, and you end up paying or showing less taxable income on that property than the income that you actually generate in cash. So in the end, what you end up is with a tax write-off, even though that property made you cash. And it is one of the most fantastic pieces of owning real estate. And the more real estate you own, the better that benefit becomes. So it's really a very important one. And then the last one is kind of a speculative benefit. It's the appreciation minutes, what your property is worth today and what it's going to be worth a year from now, or 2 years from now, or 5 years from now. And certainly in other investments, you have dividend payments when you're buying buy a mutual fund, you might get a dividend. That's kind of the cash benefit that you would get. And then the appreciation would be the stock price going up, right? So that's really the 4. And it's really important to kind of understand that, because as you are evaluating portfolios of potential investment, whether you're going to invest in financial assets or you're going to invest in real estate assets, you can get a good balance of using those benefits to properly handle your taxable income, to make the right strategies for your retirement. There's all kinds of opportunities to create more value there.
And that's a really good point, because not everyone has what we call the same buy box, right? Everyone has different reasons and different goals by or through investing. So that's where experts like John can sit down with you and say, what is your goal, or what are your goals? And then once knowing those, that's how you start getting into the evaluation of, okay, where do we want to go with this? What are we actually looking for? And so you have a really great system that you've devised that you can walk people through. We're going to show you that today. We're going to do a little sample property and show you exactly what John's going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're just going to take a quick look at a property that we have evaluated for a client. And it was valued at, if you're looking at the screen now, $275,000 as a purchase price. They were going to be putting 20% down, which was $55,000 cash invested, which would have a loan amount of roughly $220,000. The interest rate they were able to get at the time was right around 7.4%. Their term was 30 years. That made their principal and interest payment $1,523 roughly. And their debt service, the amount that it would cost them annually would be $18,278. Now we're going to look at the benefit of that real estate as an asset for them in the first category, which is income. So their gross operating income, if they were collecting roughly $2,500 a month, you can see down here, was $30,000 in a year annually. And we're going to just assume for the sake of this property that there's no vacancy here, and basically we're just looking at gross operating income as what they would get annually, and that's $30,000. Then there's going to be the operating expenses that they have on that property. That's $9,500. That's like your taxes, if you have a management fee, and we have that baked in here, insurance, that kind of thing. We always build in a expense ratio for repairs because you want to make sure that you can keep the property up to date. And then we're going to subtract those expenses out, and that leaves you with your net operating income. And then we're going to take out the remaining debt service that they had. And that says that they're going to make $2,200 a year cash flow, which, isn't a ton. This isn't a, rock star investment for the person, but it's a reasonable one, especially when you look at the other things that are happening.
That's the thing to think about, right? It's all of them.
Right. When you bring them all together, it starts to make more sense. So the next benefit is their debt service benefit. So every time they're making a mortgage payment, they're going to be paying off a portion of the principal balance. They pay off $18,000 or they pay $18,000 in roughly, and $16,000 of it goes to interest, which is, feels like a bummer, but that's just the way the banks work. And the first few years are really the years that you pay less principal and more interest. And as you pay down that schedule, you get more and more. So a more and more principal balance that is paid. And that's important. But in the first year, they're going to reduce their principal balance by $2,000. So that $2,000 plus the other $2,000, now really they're making about $4,200 on that investment. And this is actually the next benefit that really kind of turns it all on. This one is exciting for me, and it really shows people what's important. But the third one is tax benefit. So they take their net operating income at $20,500. They subtract out the interest, which is $16,000, minus your total depreciation, which depreciation is one of the greatest things that real estate investors have as an asset for them. It allows them to write off a portion of the value of the asset that they purchased. Even though they may be making money on that asset, they are able to take that depreciation and reduce their taxable income. So in this particular case, they would get $11,000 of depreciable income or depreciation against that income. That means they would actually be getting a $6,700 tax credit on their taxes. Mm-hmm. Now, you have to talk with your accountant and how this all works for your particular situation. So this is a generalized way of looking at it. But if they were in a 25% tax bracket, they would get 25% of that in a actual tax credit. So their $6,700 of loss on that property turns into a $1,600, almost $1,700 credit on their taxes. So now that's money back in their pocket, really, from their taxes. Yeah. And now we're looking at roughly another $2,000 that goes into their pocket at the end of the year.
Correct. So
that's benefit 3. Now the third one, appreciation, which we love this one because it's seemingly that real estate is going up most of the time. But I do consider this what we call a speculative benefit. It's not guaranteed. If you have to sell the property in 3 years, it may be that the property didn't appreciate by that much, or it went down. Mm-hmm. And so you just never know. And I don't like to lean too heavily into appreciation. But the more savvy you get in the real estate market, the better you buy properties and the better that appreciation benefit becomes for most of us. So it usually is more than 3%. But again, it's one of those things that we just don't know for sure. So that's another $8,000, 3%. Of the original purchase price, which was $275,000. Now, those 4 benefits obviously can give you a lot of reason to take a look at buying real estate. And one of the things that people talk about in real estate that's so important to understand is there's a lot of millionaires that are made in real estate. And it's because of the ability to leverage your cash on an investment like a piece of real estate. You can buy a $100,000 property, maybe with $20,000 down. If that $100,000 property goes up by 5%, you're at $105,000. You only put in $20,000 of cash. And so your return on your cash is a very high percentage. So it's an incredible thing, but the leverage does allow people to maybe get themselves into more trouble than they wanted to. So you have to be very careful about understanding your leverage and your risk against your leverage and the opportunity. And so it's great to speak with professionals who understand this well, to make sure that you're doing what's right for your particular situation, that you're not taking too much risk on and don't have enough cash to manage that risk, or you're being entirely too conservative and not doing what is best for you in your particular situation.
Right. And you've done this hundreds of times over the last almost 20 years, right? So John is a true resource. That's what makes, coming on onto this Living a Midwest Life team. If you want this information, come over here with us. We're going to give it to you. We're going to walk you through the steps. And these types of systems that John created is what we would do for you. You will actually walk them through each step each time. So it's a partnership. It's a long-term partnership to work to help you build that wealth over time. And that's the great thing about real estate. It's not necessarily a quick in, quick out. Sometimes it is, right? But you have to look at it more of as a long game for the most part. And you're riding that market up and down, up and down. And if you can stomach that and manage that, that's how you want to look at it, right?
Absolutely. And a couple of things in regards to that. I mean, we always say that we're not here to generate income. We're here to generate wealth. And I say that with my teammates. They do real estate transactions. That's income. But wealth is buying real estate assets or generated in other ways. And that's really something that I really take a lot of pride in is helping people truly generate wealth.
And that's so critically important as you're looking towards your long term and even building, generational wealth for your family and leaving things for your children and so forth. It's just a great way of doing that. And as you can see, we like to talk about this. So anytime you want to talk about building wealth and getting into that investment game, we're here to do so. You can always reach out. The contact info is below. And we're always putting out new videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do so. We'll get that notification to you every single time we put out something. And we try to always bring videos that's either fun or some value to you. So we hope to see you again next time on the channel. Thanks.